So, but going forward, I'm of the opinion that every of these forests should be bombarded. One, two, there is a reason why military trainings should exist in this forest, in these hideouts. Yes. There's no way they will begin to see once trainings begins to exist there. These guys will be moving far and farther away from whatever localities. So I think there are approaches to this internal security, but don't let's forget the fact that these guys, when they get money from ransom, they have enough money to bribe members of the community to keep quiet. Mm-hmm. So you find out that maybe some of these bandits are even our brothers, they are even our sisters.
Yes, they live amongst us.
That they live among us, and they are there to sabotage whatever effort. And quite a lot of people prefer to keep quiet because things are hard. And when you see free money, provided you are not affected, most of them will only speak up when they begin to get affected. When their children are killed. So putting all of this side by side, I don't wish to be in the shoes of the governor of Kaduna. I wouldn't lie to you. I really pity him.
Now let's look at it from another angle now, okay. Which is now about the issue of Sheikh Gumi. You know, this issue when even with the issue of when they were bandits. Now there were talks that how can someone who knows the whereabouts of these people still walking freely, people who have perpetrated so much evil in the northern Nigeria, of course, even spread across Nigeria, and he knows their whereabouts. He goes takes picture with them and brings information. Talks were in that he should even be apprehended, but well, that's died down as usual in Nigeria. Yep. Now the issue of the train attacks, the news that got to us and to the media was the fact that these people were from neighboring countries. Now let's look at the porosity of the borders in northern Nigeria, even Nigeria current totally, but let's look at it from northern Nigeria. If it happened for Niger Republic, Chad and all of those countries come in to have so much to perpetrate such evil in your country. So what is happening to people who are supposed to man these borders and be accountable, or rather people are supposed to supervise the manning of these borders? Because it's one thing to have people man the borders and you coming to supervise them. Is it that there's also a bit of corruption in that angle? Because this abductor said they're not speaking the language of the Nigerian language. They were speaking languages from other countries that sounded like Niger Republic, Chad, and what have you.
Since what happened in Libya, the porosity of our border has been more exposed. Before, we were benefiting when it comes to goods and services and how some of these cheap goods are being ferried into the country and they sell. We weren't looking at it from security breach. But after what happened in Libya and guns, ammunition has to exchange hands for money, and some people began agitations everywhere, and these guns and ammunition began locating to some of these areas where agitations were being seen. Then you will agree with me that there's something in economics we call demand and supply. So it will always play out. Now, what is the way forward? Sincerely, I still go back to insist that once there is no punishment for any minor thing done, one thing I love about Buba Marwa right now, the container is being seized. Whoever at the custom, those that ensure that was passed, all of them will be dealt with. That's why you find out that it looks as if everyone is cooperating with the NDLEA right now. He didn't achieve that just immediately. He ensured that once your name is mentioned, you will be dealt with. Once your name is mentioned, you will. But we don't have people that are willing to stick their neck out to ensure that even no matter how, even it's just because you open the gates, you should be picked up and you should face the music. So there must be consequences for everyone that watches evil to happen, number one. Okay. Number two is the fact that Nigeria is trying to be the bigger brother to other neighboring African countries. And with that insight, you will agree with me that we cannot say that we will not admit to an extent some of the atrocities that are well known in some of these neighboring countries. We see the Cameroon side. Our borders are porous. I can mention several areas where people from different countries can actually come in. We talk about Calabar, we talk about Cameroon. We can mention several. But the truth is, we must begin to have people who hold responsible. Oh, so person is moved to so area. Whatever happens, you are responsible. You will be dealt with. That he also passed the information down to every of his foot soldiers. And there must always be a scapegoat. Accountability, very, very important. That aside, I also think there is reasons for us to re-examine our trade agreements with some of these countries. Are we really benefiting? Is all of this relationship beneficial to us? Are we experiencing the demerits more than the merits? I won't lie that there are merits, because with the harsh economic conditions in Nigeria, some of our brothers, some of the traders are actually doing better outside the country when they take goods and services out. But the truth is that the only reason why our borders should be porous? Then I think there's a need for us to overhaul our security architecture. I won't lie to you. I've been an advocate for this. Yeah. And I'll keep insisting that until that policeman on the road is not talking to me out of frustration, until that policeman on the road is doing his job out of excitement, out of sense of commitment, out of
sense of
duty, and not just because he wants to live larger than life, and he feels that it's unfortunate to be in the police force or in any other security. Then we will not have that kind of a security that we really crave for.
Okay, Femi, let's bring this back home. I mean, beyond the resumption of the services, you still have the hostages in captive, and it's virtually 2 months now since that has happened. Yeah. There's no light in sight. Now, there have been talks of foreign assistance. This could be, in terms of mercenaries, as several quarters have called for. Probably the most prominent voice in that regard is the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum. But we do not know if the, foreign assistance is in terms of mercenaries or intelligence gathering or what have you. My question is this: what's on the table, according to reports, is the calls for prisoner swap by the terrorists, that they need certain members of their organization, their leaders, financiers, to be released in favor for the hostages. My question is, do you subscribe to the notion that the federal government should consider their hand in playing this game, or they go all out in confronting the terrorists? Because we know quite well that there's always that notion of the American ideal that you do not negotiate with terrorists, but we've also seen prisoner swaps over time. Trevor Reed came home just last week. So do you subscribe to that notion that the federal government should play into the card of a prisoner swap? That's one. Two, if we're going to go all out in terms of fighting, yes, Sheikh Gumi and the rest may have backed out, but are we saying those are the only reliable sources that can give us information about the whereabouts of these terrorists? If the Kaduna State Governor, as of 2 weeks ago, says they know, said that they know their hideouts, then we should make use of the intelligence we have to go all out in fighting. So which do you subscribe to? Playing the card of prisoner swap or fighting?
I do not agree with the swap, honestly. Okay. We've done quite a lot with Boko Haram, a lot of swap.
Repentance.
And it didn't really yield any. We find out that most of them, even though the government, we've not advanced to a level where we can use some of these guys for intelligence gathering. So we swap them, they go back, they become more notorious. Even just normal correction center. Someone goes to prison, comes back, and it becomes within 2-3 months you find out that the same person is back. So if they're really doing the right thing with our correctional center, then you will not see the same person coming back for different offenses. That's just someone that is probably caught for maybe pickpocket and stealing and whatever, let alone of someone that is a terrorist, quote and unquote. So I do not agree with the swap. But can we really go all out against them? Yes, but we must be ready for collateral damage. I've said that earlier on.
Yes.
But as we go all out against them, I think we should be more interested in preventing such things from reoccurring. We may not be able to get all the abductees back completely, but because if they release the Tucano and stuff, we may end up killing the abductees with with some of those terrorists. I think those are some of the things these guys are. Yeah, we're looking. They're trying to consider. Looking at this side by side. But nonetheless, I think we are more interested in things that have been put in place to ensure that some of these things do not reoccur. Or how are we trying to trap them to, for someone like me that is strategic, I think making them, coming back, allowing the train to begin function next week can be used as a trap. Let these people study how they attacked the last time, open up means by which they can think they are free to attack again, and then you round them up. So different strategies, different angles to all of these things. But I just want the best and the interest of Nigerians to actually be put into consideration.
Okay, Femi, let me take you on now. You know, the talks of beefing up security within the railway, along the railway lines. Talks of technology, drones, and what have you, because you can't have police personnel all through. True. I mean, we're even on demand to start with. True. In terms of, you know, those policing us within. How much more where you have railway lines that are towards the forest. True. So, do you subscribe to the deployment of technology, drones, and what have you, in beefing up our security along our rail lines?
I agree with you. I think it's the next direction we should look into. Okay. Aside that, I also think the number of security attached to our politicians should be cut down drastically. Okay. Sadly, we are in the political season right now, and that can be a more difficult call to make. But it's something that we really need to do. We can't look away from that completely. We need to cut down on the policemen attached to our politicians. We need to use technology. And then there must be accountability. People must go down. There must be scapegoats for every wrong thing that happens.
Well, but these scapegoats we're talking about, we've had a lot of scapegoats that were really not scapegoats in that sense. I know you've already tried to wipe off this administration or this generation as part of those who will be able to salvage this country. But then if you talk about scapegoats, how can we even bring up scapegoats when these scapegoats are still part of the system? So what if this has been now, we've picked this problem? What are the solutions? Talking about scapegoat, because this scapegoat could just be the next person sitting by you, which is very close to your heart or close to the administration's heart. So we didn't really call them scapegoats.
I've had that there are people that I know. One of them 4 or 5 weeks ago, someone very, very close to me was picked up for importing by the NDLEA. I'm talking about billionaire. Interesting. Sincerely speaking, I was shocked. Because these are people we know to own companies, but they use these companies to as front. So the more you the more they pick them up and you see how close they are to you, the more you now understand how you have to reflect as an individual and weigh your sentences and just know that you really can't trust anyone. But must people be apprehended once they are seen as culpable? Yes. Because until we do this, that is when there's this mentality that Nigeria, anything can pass. But the truth is, we must look into our judiciary. Most of them already have some of these people in their pockets, the judiciary. That irrespective of, they know how to drag this case. Why will Evans still be in court for crying out loud?
He's been even sentenced, actually. Well,
but how long? You see how long?
It took so much time. But then you don't talk about apprehend as we wrap up being apprehended. But being apprehended and then getting a presidential pardon later on, is it not counterproductive?
Same thing we're talking about. I just feel capital punishment. You know, I've mentioned that earlier on. I think there must be, like the president advocated for, there must be courts to handle corruption cases so that they can speed up. You know, our judges, see the way some of these courts are being burnt and all that. So it will keep elongating the number of times some of these people should appear. But once there are special courts for corruption and some of these cases, it will speed up how these cases have been tried. And once you are picked up and within 2 weeks or 3 weeks you have been sentenced or you know your fate, it will reduce the number of people that are willing to attempt some of those. But when you know you can buy time, 5 years, 6 years, you just want to continue in such atrocities.
Okay, I think that's a very good place, to wrap it up.
I agree.
Yeah, I've
Thank you
spoken
so
extensively.
A lot,
Thank
as
you so
usual. He
much.
said he was trying to speak as a politician, but he was actually a politician. Thank you so much, Femi. We
Thank you
appreciate
so
your
much
time.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. That was Femi Emmanuel, public affairs analyst and a politician. Don't forget that also.